Let's do an iron review on a club you can build. Welcome back to the mcgolfshop and mcfitting room, and if you would, swing and hit that bell. That way you get more of these videos when they drop. If you would, how about going to these social platforms of Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and follow me on IAMMCGOLF or McGolf Custom Clubs, and that way you can see what's going on in the mcgolfshop. So what is it, a golf club? So you know McGolf is here in Southern Ohio. Golfworks is in Newark, Ohio, which is about an hour and 40 minutes away. And Golfworks is really known for, being a big supplier company, and they have very good schools in which people can attend. And they also sell club heads, and they design them in-house with trusted foundries that they have, and they do a very, very good job. I've made some sets this year that have gone out of state, and surprisingly good. They were very, very good clubs. And for righties, you guys are taken care of in a big way. Their TS line is extraordinarily cool looking and high performing, and then you have all the shafts and grips that you can choose from. Lefties, on the other hand, get one. They get one. Now, is that a bad thing from a company of that size? No, not at all. And it's a good business decision, right? At least they're offering one. Now, typically what it's been is something that has been super game improving. And that's not really what fits the bill, right? We always talk about the bell curve and how most of the golfers are under the bell curve. And this time, Pete, Britt, and the guys at Golfworks have really hit one well. And it's the STi2 iron, okay? The STi2 iron. The STi2 iron is a pocket cavity cast club with just a medium amount of offset. You see something where we get it right in here. Nice radius on the club, which around here is fantastic. And the sole is not very wide, but it's not a butter knife either. Very much down the middle. You get to see where it's just a little bit of an offset right there. And it has a pretty good look at address. If I can get you here. There's the top line. All right, it just kind of molds into the club. So it's not, very much right down the middle. But don't trust me. Let's talk with Britt.
So what do you want to talk about these new irons?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I shafted mine on an Acra Tour.
Yeah.
And man, my swing was awful. but once I got onto it, I started making it into the middle.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah. And of course, how about that? When you have a better quality strike, the ball actually goes a little further.
Yes, it does.
Without having to swing further. Well, there's the driver. And I found the middle of the driver there.
There you go. There you go. That's a good one too. I mean, we've been working on this for, better part of a year. I mean, we take our time, and we knew we had to update, a flagship brand that we could do it right and left-handed. And so, we started from scratch. We didn't take and redo something we had already done. A little bit of thought went into all the features we wanted to put on it. Undercut cavity in the long irons. We put the silica gel, in the 4, 5, 6, and 7 iron. That's really great for, dampening vibration. You don't need it as the lofts get higher because it's such an oblique hit. So, and we got them in and we hit them. I mean, these were all the feedback from everybody was wow. These are strong. They're high super game improvement irons. We put them with modern lofts, modern stronger lofts. Not super strong, not like some of the name brands are doing, on 6 irons, which is almost criminal if you ask me. Some of them. But I mean, it's I think we're at maybe 28 or something like that on a 6 iron, which is an old 5 iron, but that's pretty normal now. I mean, we're seeing as low as 23 on some models.
Yeah.
That's just not something we'd want to do. Ralph said one time that one of these days, basically, you're going to have you know, just like a couple irons and a bunch of wedges,
Right.
Because,
And they're all
anyway,
the gloss.
Yeah, so we're really happy about it. We got the CG, which is really critical for us. I mean, we really work hard and we go back and forth. We get the 3D CAD stuff, from the factory, and we can tweak stuff. They'll show us where the CG is, and so we can move weights. But I don't know if you can see this. I mean, there's a dot. I mean, it's dead center.
Right.
Right there. And you don't find that very often. I mean, if we're within a few thousandths, we're okay, but we got that one very, very close. You can see the little silica gel, right in the middle of the cavity right there, which is a great feature. I mean, I've always found that if you can put any kind of, polymer or gel or anything in an iron, whether it's in the hosel of a steel shaft in the iron, or you can put it in a cavity, then that's golden as far as dampening vibration. And then what we did, we actually progressed the cavity. When you get to I got one right here. As you get to the 9-iron, 8-9 pitching, the cavity gets a lot shallower. So it's still a cavity, but it's much shallower. So very solid. Distance control on the irons from all our testing is really, really good. So we're really pleased with them. Really pleased with them. So I'm glad you got to test them and give us your feedback. It's been a long time since I've been able to get you a new left-handed club.
It has. Well, I tell you what, I do. The thing that I really, there's a few things I really like about it is that as the offset changes as you go down the set.
Yep.
I think that's important because it's very functional.
Correct.
Right? At the top end is when you need it the most, and at the bottom end is when you need it the least, and that's how it follows.
Right, and that's it's a progressive offset. It's a progressive cavity. We wanted it to be a super game improvement club but really a broad range of players could play with. Well, and I think we accomplished it.
I do. A lot of the things that I like on clubs as a whole is, I like round.
Yep.
I don't like a lot of edge, and I like radius, although they're good clubs that kill the leading edge, but I'm just for around here where we're very mountainous.
Exactly.
A radius sole tends to work a lot better here.
Right. And I don't think people realize that enough. I mean, we try to do a lot of front to back camber and put the right amount of bounce on it. I think we start with 3 and progress up to like 6 or so on these irons. And, when you get in the kind of turf that we play in, it's rarely dry. now, El Paso in August, you want a little flatter sole, maybe with a little less loft, but for here, and I discovered that, I'm a Texan and I moved up here 18 years ago, and I realized really quickly that, those thin flat soles they don't work as well. The divots were very large. Let's just put it that way.
Oh yeah. Well, and then you find a lot of the, in this neck of the woods, you find where the greens are what I call they're lofted up off of the fairways, and they create a skirt around it.
Oh yeah.
And, so the pitch and run just basically is pretty much foregone.
Right.
And so that whole being able to, that whole trap pitch and let it go, that doesn't happen around here.
Yeah, those are shots you and me grew up learning to play, and if the sole's not right, it's very difficult to do that. So we made it out of 431 stainless, heat treated, so that it's very, very adjustable. So from a club making or adjustment standpoint, a custom standpoint, it should be good. I mean, you ought to be able to move this several degrees. And we did it without making the hosel really long either. That's something you'll never see from us. You'll never see a hosel on an iron higher than the toe height. Generally, it's going to be lower because it's just wasted weight if you make them longer. So I know traditionalists like to see long hosels, short blades, and that's fine if you stamp it out in the center of the face all the time. But it's surely, you don't get anything out of those clubs unless you're really, really good.
Well, that's, I think even if it's funny from the back, it might give it a longer blade length perspective, right? But at address, it actually has a more compact view.
And, we're able, it's funny, there's some designers tricks that allow us to do that because, Ralph was known for making, you know, ultra game improvement, you know, really long blade.
Oh,
You get
yeah.
a lot of stability when you make really long blades, but you can make blade length look shorter at address by doing little things in the hosel and in what we call the crotch area right here. You know, this has got a very subtle little notch in it, and when you do that, it hides blade length. So we can make these like, you know, this is like 1.5 something, I think, in blade length, which is really good. But when you get into 1.65 and 1.7, like really long, and it starts to look a little odd. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's for certain types of players, but you're going to eliminate a lot of players playing it if you get them looking too long. But you're right. Yeah, at address, this does not look too long at all.
So what's the set makeup for a righty and a set makeup for a lefty? Because sometimes they change.
Yeah, we went 4 through gap wedge both ways.
Okay, good.
So yeah. So we, you know, the 3-iron is a thing of the past. We still do it on some of our more traditional clubs, but it's difficult because a 3-iron is a 2-iron, you know, and a 4-iron is a 3-iron, and so that's kind of going away. And the gap wedge is a pitching wedge now. So that's pretty much the standard. And you know, we contemplate even doing 4-irons in a lot of these models. It's kind of in a no man's land because the players that would use a 4-iron, a lot of those guys are now going to hybrids,
Right?
Or they're hitting a driving iron or something like that. But anyway, that's what we did in both right and left-handed. We did in the driver, we did 10 and 12 degree in right-handed, and we did just 10 degree in left to start. Now we have a 12 degree tooled, and so it might be possible that, you know, as the season gets going, we'll probably add the 12 for the left-handers, maybe next year. We'll see how it goes. We'll see, you know, if the 10 sell well and we get enough requests, we would do that.
So back to the irons on the 431 is 431 actually a harder metal, or is it soft by nature and then you heat treat it to softer?
It's you know, if you consider 17.4, you know, its properties are a little bit harder than 431. You know, in the old days, you'd make a 1018 or something, or there were some numbers that don't mean a lot, but they were super soft, and they really weren't that good. 431, the interesting thing is it can be hard or soft. I mean, it's softer than 17.4 in its original state. We go through these intricate heat treating processes to control that. I mean, I can make it, you know, have the same properties as a 1018 carbon steel or 1025 carbon steel easily. We don't go quite that soft, just from a, you know, durability standpoint, but yeah, no, we heat treat 17.4 as well. I mean, so that you can bend them. So yeah, 431 is kind of where we like to sit on most of the castings that we do. But we've got 17.4 as well. Our new M890 iron, which is, you know, for slower swing speeds and I would say women and seniors and that we'll have coming out. They're shipping in mid-May actually. It's a 17.4, and it's a longer blade for sure. But and I think it came out to almost 1,000 points from the playability standpoint.
So the one of my last ones on the iron.
Sure.
For a lot of people that, you know, are, you know, I get a lot of questions now from guys that want to become club makers or asking questions about that kind of stuff. And typically if they want to get educated, I send them, you know, I say, go see you guys in the
Right.
schools that you offer, because you learn this kind of stuff. But from a design feature, you know, and I've told them, what does the pocket cavity actually do? What does this little added thing do?
Yeah, the pocket cavity allows us to, you know, take weight and move it rearward and move it more toe and heel. I mean, that's why when you create the cavity, you're just carving out weight that you can put in a different position. We know that if we, you know, expand weight to the perimeters and further back, that it improves the stability, it improves the MOI, and so that's why we do it. So that's the whole point of doing those kind of undercut cavities. And Pete Callaway, you know, did the cosmetic design of this. What we do is we get together as a team and decide kind of what we want to do. We'll sketch out some ideas together. Then he'll go to model it. I do some, but he did these, And then he'll bring it up and say, what do you think? And, oh, that's awesome. Why don't we, cut it a little more here? And he'll go fix it. Or then he'll say, hey, I thought this looked better. And I'm like, you're right. That looks great. So, he's as good a designer, I think, as anybody there. He's great at shaping woods. He does all of our woods. Best wood shaper that I've ever been around. So, but that's kind of what we do. We map out, these are the features we want. This is the playability target we want. This is the CG location we want. So now let's go sketch it out, and then we start modeling it. Once we get that done, we do very detailed, CAD drawings, and we don't 3D model here or anything, but we send it to the factory. They do that for us, and then actually send us a 3D file, which I did have up on my screen, but and then we can manipulate it, change it, and then send it back to them, and they can fix it before we go to tool. So that's kind
of that cool. Making the world smaller.
Yes.
Yeah. I can remember Ralph had he was given one of those seminars that he was so famous for. And he was at the time, he was talking about, we make a design, we send it over, and then they make it to spec, and then they send it back, and we test it and do this and that, make our changes, send it back over there. They send another one back. We look at this, or even you just go over there to shortcut the between stuff, and then we come up with a thing. And in the process, you guys were working on a year to a year and a half in advance of releases, just because of the lack of communication, the lack of ability of communication.
Right.
And now you got all this stuff. I mean, even Ralph in his shop, he did click off into his little machine he's got, and yeah, I like that. Woohoo, and
we would cut prototypes out of blocks, and kind of go that route. The time frame still, I would tell you, is probably 9 to 12 months, only because we tend to have to tweak things several times, even with, the preciseness of using 3D CAD. The thing that, from a CAD to a tool to a first article, because we don't approve anything till we get literally metal samples, is the finishing grinds. If they don't grind, or they don't finish off, this area just right, or the leading edge just right, or the top line just right, it just, even though the specs are perfect, it may not be what you want. So we've taken actually aluminum masters that they sent over that were supposed to be final, and we'll go down and grind some stuff off, put a Bondo epoxy on it, reshape it, send it back, and we'll do the whole thing again until we get it just right. But it is easier. We used to go to China and time it so that we get approved samples. It would save us a month or two, as little as 3 years ago. But 3 years ago, it kind of changed, and we haven't been back. And we're lucky we have a really good partner that knows exactly what we look for and how we design, and it helps us not having to explain everything that we're doing, because when you have to explain it from scratch to somebody doesn't understand what you're designing, it takes a while.
All right, thanks, Britt. Thank you for talking. I'm sure we'll talk with Britt more as the season goes on about other things that are going on at the Golfworks. So the real question is, how'd they hit? So the averages are what you see right here with the STi2 6-iron and the Acura Tour 90 on about 193, 204. Now what it is, it's only 8 shots. I had 10 earlier, and it was 191 to 202. And what I did is I was taking out the one wide right and the shortest one in order to see what it would look like, and pretty much didn't have it recorded. Average on 92 mile an hour with a smash factor, which I would say is pretty good. It's right at average to above average, with a slightly low spin rate and a classification of straight. So now let's see how these guys flew. Going up in the air. I got one low one right here, but the rest of them are in there and pretty good, and landing either online or somewhere to the inside. Not too bad. So if we take a look, it's pretty good to be able to hit a 6-iron like that. There we go, down into there. So how did it look as far as grouping goes?
So this is what the 8 shots look like, you know, anywhere from the 10-yard to the 0 marker. I had one that was sitting right here at the 177 mark. It would be right about there. And then I had one that was wide right. That's about at the 20-yard mark, sitting right at the 180-ish line. So it was over here. And that's the ones I was taking out. So again, overall, numbers are with me. It's actually pretty good. Now, if we see graphs, I get the not very consistent look, but I am getting the acceleration through the shaft, so the shaft was working for me. And if we look at our numbers, fairly consistent, mid 180s to the mid 190s as the case may be. That was just an outrageously good shot, swinging a little faster, not any better. And it got straight out there. So not all in all, not a heavy attack angle, right in that 2 to 3 degree range, so we did pretty good. So let's go back and see who these would be for.
Alrighty, so that's how they hit, right? We actually punched them out there pretty good. They were right out there with my clubs as they took right off. So I very, very pleased with the way they performed. Now I've been hitting these things for better part of a month, and good swings, bad swings, good swings, bad swings, and so but I've been finding the middle, the entire middle, but I have been finding the middle, and even on some bad swings, they're still hitting pretty decent yardage, so the forgiveness is actually there. Now in the lower irons, the pocket cavity goes away because you need a little bit more meat down low, and it pulls it down and it gets up in the air. So very, very worthwhile to check it out. If you guys are interested in building your own stuff and you're looking for a quality club that's not a copy look like, the ST1 is pretty much where you want to go. After it's all said and done, who are we going to recommend these for? We took them into the shop and we measured it. Okay. Now I can't say that they're going to give you a particular swing weight because it's based on a particular kind of shaft. In this instance, I used the Acura Tour 90. Right, the Acura Tour 90 sports a little bit more weave down here at the bottom, so it's a little bit more stiff upon release. And lately I've been doing that, and so the club has been working very, very well for me. We've also installed a Lamkin Z5 grip, which is a half cord and half texture, right? Half texture. And I'm more used to a non-tapered fashion grip, so this was a little different feel for me. Everything measured out exactly the way they were supposed to as far as the lofts and lies, and the swing weights came out the way they wanted to them because of the shaft that I was using. And so I'm pretty happy with the quality of the build. Who are they for? Basically, we said that right on top of the curve is basically going to catch the most golfers. Medium to low offset, medium size in cavity, in size in the shape of the cavity, a very non-intimidating top line with a sole that would be good for even pickers or diggers. They hit this thing right down the middle. So it was a very, very good choice. So if you're looking for to build your own stuff, try something out. You can always buy one and try it on your own, or you can buy the whole set and just jump right in if you want and try it and have some fun. If building the club's a little more intimidating, then you can give us an email and we can talk about the kind of shafts that would go in there and how we would build them for you. But again, hopefully you liked what you saw, and let's see your scores go low.